Greetings, Murray Middle School, and welcome to the zombie apocalypse. Unfortunately, you've been pulled for the lotto. You are now responsible for going out and collecting supplies to bring back to HQ. Upon your arrival home, you will go straight to quarantine where you'll be tested for the DNA virus of the zombies. I'm going to send you over to John, who's going to tell you more about lab safety. John?
Okay, good afternoon or good morning. My name is John, and I'm going to be walking through some of our safety protocol for the DNA fingerprinting lab. Okay, first of all, we have our protective equipment. We have our gloves, which everyone needs to have the gloves on, and we have different sizes: large, medium, small. We have our protective eyewear, which we have to keep on at all times. All right. First thing we have here is we have the micro centrifuge. And when we're operating the microcentrifuge, we want to make sure that we have our DNA samples across from each other, adjacent. And we should have 4 in here. Right now we just have 2, but if we had 4, we want to make sure that they're opposite each other. When we're operating it and it's plugged in, we're going to push the red button right here on the side, and we're going to hold the lid down so the lid doesn't open. Okay, when we're done with that, after it's been enough time, we'll push the red button off, remove our DNA sample. Now we're moving on to the micropipette, and our micropipette has been preset to 10 milliliters. When we're opening up the micropipette tip, we want to make sure that we do not leave it open. We get what we need, which is 1 micropipette tip. We close the lid, and then we go to the DNA sampling. So we're going to take the large middle button, we're going to push that down to the first resistance. We're going to stick that in there, and then we're going to release. And that should give us 10 milliliters of the sample. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to close the DNA sample, put it back in the centrifuge or wherever we're going to place that. We're going to reach over to our gel, and this is actually a practice gel. The ones we'll actually be using in the class, in the lab, are actually going to be in the bins, but this is the practice one, just for this demonstration. I'll put the tip down into the practice gel, push it down, all the way to the bottom. Pushing the center button all the way to the bottom, not the pipette tip. Pull it back out, and then release the center button. Alright, so now you have your sample. When you're done with your sample, you're going to hit the side button there, releasing the pipette tip, putting that down. We're going to put our DNA sample into the electrophoresis chamber, and I'm going to put my lid, after I put the buffer solution, which it barely covers our gel, and we want to make sure that the gel is facing towards the negative electrode connection. We're going to put the buffer solution so it barely covers our gel. I'm going to carefully align the electrodes, make sure black to black, red to red. Then we're going to take our electrical leads, red to red, black to black, make sure it's in the off position. We're going to plug our power supply in. Then we're going to turn it on to 150 volts. And after 45 minutes, then we're going to go ahead and check to make sure that our DNA has traveled along the gel. We're going to turn it to the off position. We're going to unplug our power supply, disconnect the power supply leads. Very carefully, the electrophoresis chamber, we're going to gently rotate the lid till we can remove it off. We're going to take our sample, carefully taking the bin out with the gel sample, the DNA sample. We're going to put it in our plastic bag. We're going to set that to the side.
Thank you, John. Unfortunately, we're unsure how the virus is spreading, and the numbers of DNA people who have been contaminated are spreading to approximately 50%. To learn more about our situation, I'm going to send you over to Cindy, who's going to tell you more about the zombie apocalypse and DNA.
On your return to home base, you will be learning about DNA analysis. DNA is what makes up you. Every part of you depends on it. Every person's DNA is different. But with this zombie apocalypse, we've noticed that when infected with the virus, the person's DNA mutates and becomes the same as the others. Once this happens, the person has become a zombie. We do not know how this virus spreads. It may be airborne, by contact, or something in the food or water. Whatever it is, it's becoming catastrophic. So since you have all been outside of base, before we allow you to return to civilization, you must go directly to quarantine so that we can test to see if you have this mutation. The way that this will work is that we have DNA that we have taken from the zombies, along with DNA that, if this situation were real, would be yours. When you get off the bus, you will be placed into pairs with a couple groups of 3, where you will meet with the people who will be guiding you through the process of DNA testing. Thank you for your service, and good luck.
Thank you, Cindy. That's very interesting. Now that we know more about DNA, good luck out there on the field, and may the odds be ever in your favor. We'll see you soon, Murray.